Hi, John with eTrailer. Today we have a 2020 Volkswagen Jetta. We're going to be taking a look at and installing the CURT Class 1 Receiver Hitch. This is a Class 1, so this is going to be 1.25" by 1.25". That's industry standard for Class 1 hitches. It's going to have a gloss black finish. You're going to have an exposed cross tube down here as well, which I don't mind. It's low on the car. If you would rather have a hidden cross tube and just have this exposed, we do have a Draw-Tite option, but that's going to require taking the rear fascia off here. This one does not. It installs in about half the time. Now, as far as pin requirements, your pin and clip do not come with it, but this is a 1/2" pin and clip. If you're new to towing, you need this. If you're just looking for accessories such as cargo carriers and bike racks, most of those do include an anti-rattle pin and clip or an anti-rattle device. As far as the chain hangers go here, you can see they take the standard S hook or even the heavier duty clevis hooks. Now let's talk about some weight capacities for this hitch. This is going to be 202,000. It's going to be 200 pounds of tongue weight, and that's going to be the weight pushing down on your hitch. As far as gross trailer weight rating, that's 2,000 pounds. Now that's going to include the weight of your trailer plus any cargo that you're carrying. Now, of course, you want to check with your owner's manual to make sure that your car can handle that much weight. As far as measurements go, off the ground to the inside top lip on this hitch, we're looking at 10.5 inches, and from the center of the pin out to the edge of the bumper, we're looking at 4 inches. Now those numbers are important and when you're choosing gear such as a cargo carrier or a 2-bike rack that can fit this, because you want to know how low to the ground you are and how far away the back bumper is from your hitch. So if you get any folding accessories, you don't want interference at your bumper. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we do have another hitch available from Draw-Tite that requires taking off the back bumper fascia, and it kind of doubles the install time. Personally, if this was my Volkswagen, this is my pick. I don't mind the exposed cross tube down here, plus it installs in just a little over an hour. Don't need any special tools. If you want to see how we did it, stick around, we'll show you. Let's get started. So we're going to start on the passenger side of this Jetta, and we're going to remove this plastic pan here. You're going to need a T25 and a metric 10 to get this removed. We're going to have some plastic nuts, the 10 millimeter. Just kind of pull these down. These are generally pretty loose. So we'll just do that, and then we'll run these T25s. We'll go ahead, we are going to reuse this, so set this off to the side. We're going to be lowering the exhaust, so I've got a cam buckle tie down strap here. I'm just going to attach it to the coil springs here and here, and then tighten it up, and as we lower the exhaust, it's just going to help support it, and it's not putting so much pressure on the rest of the exhaust system. We can go ahead and take a 13 millimeter socket, and we're going to be removing 2 exhaust hangers, one in the front and one in the back. A little bit further back, we have our fuel tank here. I'm going to be in front of that, towards the front of the car, right in the dead center. We've got another 13 millimeter that we're going to take loose here. This is going to allow our exhaust to drop down even further. And this should give us enough room to get our hitch up above the exhaust. We're going to be taking this heat shield off. And Volkswagen has these round washer nuts. They just are just kind of weird. They will spin off. They click up into these plastic tabs here. And so I took a flathead screwdriver and just try to get them to start turning. But so you're going to have 2 of these on this side and 1 on the other side of the muffler that need to come off. Next, we'll go ahead and remove the heat shield. Now there's a diagram in the installation manual that shows you where you need to cut your heat shield. Basically, you're just going to cut a couple of rectangles here and here. This will allow the hardware for the hitch to remain flat. It just gets out of the way. So this heat shield cuts pretty easy. I just used a pair of tin snips. You can use some side cutters or even a Dremel wheel if you'd like, but it cuts really easy with some tin snips. All right, our next step is going to be fishing hardware into the frame right here. We're going to be going from this long oval hole that's up by the right tire. We're on the passenger side of the vehicle right now. Your kit comes with a fish wire. We're going to have the block and the carriage bolt. We're going to be running these through the frame, and we're going to start with the hole that's closest to the back bumper here on the passenger side. And I'm just going to go ahead and insert the coil through that hole. We're going to go ahead and run this up to the oval hole that's here by the back tire. And then we can take our block spacer here, we'll slide that up and into the hole, and then we'll thread our carriage bolt on. And we can slide that up in the hole. And grab the wire. Pull this down. And we can repeat that same process. We're going to go in the middle hole here on the passenger side. And do the exact same thing. And then go ahead and repeat that for the driver's side as well. Now it's time to go ahead and reinstall the heat shield. If your plastic clips fall off, make sure that they go on the back side here. We're cut. We'll go ahead and slide this up over the muffler. If you left your fish wires on, which is what I do recommend over here on the exhaust side, that way your bolts won't get knocked up into the hole while you're doing this. Make sure that you run your second fish wire through the hole you cut here in the heat shield. And then this can go ahead and get reinstalled because our hitch will go on top of this. Grab some extra hands and we're going to mount this up on the frame. Once it's up against the frame, go ahead and use the supplied flange nuts to hold it in place. If you're having trouble putting the flange nut on, you can put your thumb on it to get the nut started there. And then pull down as you're tightening that. And then just leave it loose. Now, I just wanted to show you on the driver's side over here, because this is kind of weird. We have a notch cut in the side frame on our hitch, and this is where our exhaust bracket has to go. So as you raise it up on the driver's side, you can flex this exhaust left and right. Get this over here, because this eventually is going to mount up here to the frame, but that'll probably be the last thing we do. We're going to have to tighten down the two frame bolts here so we can have our hitch snugged up. Next, we're going to torque the hitch to the specifications that are found in our installation manual. Now, 3 out of 4 we were able to torque down with just a standard torque wrench. This back one back here, you may have to get a crow's foot adapter. Just do the best you can to get that torqued. So on our plastic pan here, I went ahead and marked off a section that we're going to cut. And again, just using some snips here. This plastic will cut easy enough. This is going to allow our hitch to work with this. I'm going to cut this section out here. I like to use painter's tape, that way you can make it clean cut and follow a line. And we'll go ahead and see if this fits on the car. If you got to do some extra trimming, it's perfectly fine. We're just going to see if this fits. So we fit ours up here. It's a little tight here. I'm going to cut this notch out, but when you get it right, just go ahead and reinstall it in the reverse order that came off. Next, we'll go ahead and hang our exhaust. Right, that'll do it for the exhaust hangers. We can go ahead and remove the strap. And that was a look at our CURT Class 1 receiver hitch on our 2020 Volkswagen Jetta.